The show can't start until we crack open a bottle of Revelton. Whether it's their crisp, clean vodka, the bold spice of their rye whiskey, the rich smoothness of bourbon, or the original honey whiskey that started it all, every pour is a taste of craft and passion straight from the heart of Iowa. So pour yourself a drink, settle in, and get ready to relax, laugh, and enjoy the show.
Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Welcome into another edition of Locks and Longshots. Andrew Barber here with you, trying to bring you the best in college football and NFL picks here for the upcoming week. And we'll take a quick look at last week, review what won, what lost in both college football and the NFL, and maybe have to rethink our process here a little bit, especially in college football where we are sub 500. USF and North Texas over 66.5, cashed with ease. Rutgers plus 10.5. They lost by 19 on a Friday night at Washington. It seems Washington has found their groove a little bit. Alabama, Missouri over 51.5. I was expecting a lot more from that Missouri offense. Alabama looks like a contending team yet again. My favorite bet of the weekend, Indiana plus 7.5. They won outright. I wish I would have had the courage to go with them outright, but did not. And then probably paired that up with my worst bet of the weekend, Penn State minus 21.5. They lose outright to Northwestern at home. James Franklin is fired. That is probably one of the worst bets you'll ever see me make in a week. And so Penn State, welcome to the trash can where we're throwing you. Never again this season, Penn State. I just don't see a reason. I know that they might rebound under an interim coach, but there's no reason to be betting on Penn State, especially not this weekend for me, being the Iowa fan that I am. Definitely not going to ride with Penn State. TCU minus 1.5. They got the doors blown off by Kansas State. Again, things that don't make sense happening this weekend. USC minus 2.5. They absolutely dominate. Michigan win by 18. Texas money line. We had them as an underdog in the Red River rivalry. John Mateer did play, but did not play well. So Arch Manning, the Longhorns get a win. Arizona State plus 5.5. Did not know that their quarterback Sam Leavitt was going to be out for this game. They did not cover that by a mile. They got the doors blown off by Utah. A lot of that is having to adjust with a backup quarterback on the road against a good and ranked Utah team. Auburn held serve. Looked like they were going to win outright, but they did cover the plus 3.5. We went 5-5 in college football. We're 16-19 on the year. Then let's look at our NFL slate. We started off hot. Bucks minus 2.5, covered with ease. Cowboys, Panthers over 49.5. Ravens, we we bet this with the caveat that Lamar Jackson would be back. He was not. The Ravens got the doors blown off by the Rams. Lions money line looked good on Monday night for a while, and then the Chiefs became the Chiefs yet again. And who knows what happened to Josh Allen against the Falcons. They only put up 14 points against a team that lost 30-0 against the Carolina Panthers. Trying to make sense of that one. So Josh Allen, anytime touchdown. Josh Allen over passing and rushing yards did not hit. We went 2-4 in the NFL. We're 11, 13, and 1. So, again, not a great week, but we've got the stuff here, we believe, to get us back on the right track. Let's start in the college football world. And I would like to start on Friday night with a game between Miami and Louisville. It's in Miami. They're a 13.5 or a 2-touchdown favorite. And just going into this game, I think a lot of people are rightfully so hyped about Carson Beck and the Miami offense. But I think the actual secret here and what I'm banking on is the Miami defense. They have impressed me at every turn. They shut down the South Florida offense. They beat South Florida. They beat the Florida Gators, Florida State. Florida State did make a little bit of a late charge, but the Miami defense was really dominating early in that game. And this is Miller Moss on the road, the same Miller Moss-led team that just lost to Virginia on October 4th at home in overtime. I don't think that I would like to bet on Miller Moss. I'm going to bet on this Miami defense. And Carson Beck in the offense seems to have found a little bit of a rhythm here as well. I just like the Hurricanes to break things wide open and cover that 13.5. And then we're going to start out at an 11 a.m. game on Saturday between two teams that have been frequent flyers on this show. That's TCU and Baylor. We've bet on them multiple times. I think we've had a TCU bet every week, except for the first week. Well, why break the streak now? We're going to keep the TCU streak coming. I see them on the board and I like it, but we're not going to hit the spread this time. We're going to hit the over with 65.5. Again, a high over, but these teams are going to push the pace. They're going to drive for points. And I'm not overly impressed with either of these defenses through 7 weeks. You shouldn't be either. Let's hit the over, 65.5. Next pick, we're going to pick on a bad team. We're going to pick on the Wisconsin Badgers. They host Ohio State. They are 24.5-point underdogs. I would maybe swing the other way if Luke Fickell had been fired, but he has not been fired as of the recording of this podcast on a Tuesday night. Luke Fickell is still there, and we get to bet against him with the number one team in the land coming to Camp Randall. I think that's as good as it gets for us. So give me Ohio State minus 24.5 points. Next, I'm looking at a game between two rivals, USC and Notre Dame. USC, again, like we said last weekend, they handled Michigan. Notre Dame has been lighting everybody up offensively. They handled NC State fairly well, but they are known for their offense. They are not known for their defense at Notre Dame this year. The USC defense has been improved, but it's still middle of the pack. The offense is elite against that Notre Dame defense. I think this is a recipe that leads to points on Saturday night there in South Bend. Over 61.5 USC Notre Dame. Again, we're going for some high point totals, but I really truly believe in the offenses that are in the games with those high point totals, and I do not believe in the defenses. That's why we're going with those high point totals. Looking at Ole Miss, Georgia, and looking at the total there, I've not been impressed by either team's offense. It's kind of the inverse of what I've been talking about with TCU Baylor. USC Notre Dame. And Ole Miss really struggled last week with Washington State, who is a terrible team, by the way. Georgia struggled a little bit with Auburn, who's 3-3 on the road. I do think Georgia will probably win this game at home, but I don't think this is one where they're going to be lighting up the scoreboard here. Trinidad Chambliss versus Gunnar Stockton. Again, it's underwhelming quarterback play. I think a recipe for the under 54.5. And another team that I'm going to put my faith in this week, it's mainly because the Oregon Ducks are traveling across country to play the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, where I think that's actually a difficult place to play. And Oregon just had that emotional, charged up game against Indiana where they fell short. I know they'll be looking to bounce back, but I don't know if this is the spot to do it in. It's a tough road trip. And I think that Callie McManus, KJ Duff, Ian Strong, and the boys will be more than up for this challenge in Piscataway there on Saturday. Rutgers to cover the plus 17.5. I'm not convinced of the Oregon Ducks. I'm not going to be betting on the Oregon Ducks. So give me the Rutgers Scarlet Knights here with the plus 17.5. We'll go ahead and we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back, and we'll talk a little NFL.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
Gentlemen, let's be honest. Finding the perfect gift for your wife or girlfriend isn't always easy. You want something thoughtful, stylish, and unique. And that's exactly what you'll find at Styled by JJ Boutique. Julia Bradshaw and her team strive to be your go-to boutique for casual, boho, and chic clothing and accessories, helping women elevate their style one piece at a time. Located right here in Johnston, Iowa, Styled by JJ brings trendy, high-quality fashion that boosts confidence without breaking the bank. So, if you're looking for a gift that says, I get you, instead of I tried, head to Styled by JJ Boutique. Because nothing makes her smile like feeling beautiful. Styled by JJ Boutique, where style meets confidence. Visit our Johnston location or shop online at styledbyjjboutique.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Let's move to the NFL again. Last week, not a great week for us. But again, let's get back on the right track. Let's start with betting against the Bears. I know they just came up with a big, close win on Monday Night Football, last-second field goal by Jake Moody. Everything's great, right? Everything's hunky-dory. The New Orleans Saints are coming to town. They're going to steamroll. They're going to steamroll them, right? The Saints are one of the worst teams. Not so fast. Spencer Rattler has been keeping it close in some of these games, and I also think this is a classic Chicago Bears letdown spot. Give me the Saints plus 5.5 and the Bears with the big letdown here. Another team that struggled last week on Thursday night. We stayed away from the Thursday night game last week. We're staying away again this week. But the Eagles are on the road against the Vikings. They are a slight favorite. They're a 1.5-point favorite. But again, I think that gives me enough value to take the Eagles' money line here. I want to bet against Carson Wentz or J.J. McCarthy. It does not really matter who it is. And I think the Eagles are rightfully going to be embarrassed about what happened against the Giants on Thursday night. and they're going to come out firing. I think we're going to see a strong commitment to the running game. We're going to see that get on track. And yeah, I have a feeling that the Eagles are going to get back and hit hard. Next, I'd like to bet on a quarterback that is playing lights out right now. And he plays for the AFC East leader after last night. That's the New England Patriots' Drake May. It's his second year as a starter, second year in the NFL overall. I thought he might show some progress this year. I didn't really expect him to be at the level where he is right now. But I figured out that offensive line a little bit, and the passing game is working. Josh McDaniels has this thing going for Drake May. And they get a good matchup this week against the Titans. Defense that has been reeling. Obviously, their offense can't hold the ball. Cam Ward's been turnover machine. I think this recipe kind of leads to a Drake May takeover. So give me Drake May passing yards over and Drake May passing touchdowns over. Probably over 1.5 on the passing touchdowns. Probably somewhere around 250 yards on the passing yards. But give me Drake May. Next, I'm going to do something that's highly dangerous. That's bet on the Falcons on the road in Sunday night prime time. They're taking on the 49ers. And the 49ers just have a whole host of injuries. Brock Purdy may be back. It may not matter, though, just given the injuries that are present. George Kittle may be back soon. I don't know if that's this week. But the Falcons are 2.5-point underdogs, and the Niners defense just lost Fred Warner for the year. A brutal injury, especially when you're talking about the run defense. And here comes Bijan Robinson, who was otherworldly on Monday night against the Bills. He's going to be due for a big game. I think the Falcons are going to force the issue with Bijan on the ground. I don't understand the 2.5-point underdog status. I know what the records say. I know that it's a travel game for Atlanta moving from the East to the West Coast. I know I'm betting on Michael Penix in primetime, which makes me nervous. But would you rather take Michael Penix or Mac Jones or Brock Purdy? Give me Penix every time. Next, I'm going to go with the Lions. They are taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and nobody has been hotter than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But again, I think this is a scenario where injuries might catch up with Tampa Bay. They're already down Evans and Godwin, and now Emeka Ibuka got hurt. Just a lot of injuries offensively. Bucky Irving was out this past Sunday. I don't even know if Bucky will be back this week. I would probably venture to guess that he is not back this week, and they have to go to Detroit, who just got kind of humbled by the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night. Lions are 5.5-point favorite, so we're right in that beautiful Vegas zone. But give me the Lions to bounce back in a big way, especially with all the injuries that they're facing too. They're rolling out people from the street at cornerback. But I have some sort of confidence in their offense to get it done. Give me the Lions -5.5. Along with that, I think Amon-Ra is going to score a touchdown. He didn't last week. I think he's due for one. That's kind of how Amon-Ra kind of operates. It's almost every other week. It seems like he's scoring a touchdown. Last week wasn't his week against the Chiefs. I think it could be his day against the Bucs. And then we're doing the Monday night doubleheaders again for some reason. I hate when the NFL does this. I do not like the Monday night doubleheaders at all. But what I like even less is betting on CJ Stroud in primetime. I will take a flyer on Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are probably the best team in the NFC West. They're a 3.5-point favorite at home. I love their defense. This might be a really defensive game. I guess the total is 41.5. That seems about right. But give me Sam Darnold to just make a few more plays than CJ Stroud and cover that spread with 3.5. So there you have it. Those are my picks for this week. Kind of a light week in college football, going a little bit heavier on NFL. But I can't wait to see you all back here next week and see how these picks turned out. Hopefully we are back in the positive in a big way. Thank you all for listening. Have a great night.